I get it. I grew up with a 1992 Plymouth Grand Voyager. This was my childhood, and as I got interested into cars and became a teenager, minivans weren't cool. And for many in my generation, that stigma has just kind of stuck around. But if you ask my 6-year-old, this is the best thing we've had all year. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2024 Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle eHybrid. Yes, the fuel-efficient people mover. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why you are wrong for your love affair with SUVs when a minivan exists. Stay tuned. Okay, before starting off, I do want to say a huge thank you to Chrysler for bringing me their one and only vehicle in the entire market right now, and that is their Pacifica minivan. They kind of split it up by breaking the gas-powered and the hybrid-powered, but yes, they've got this minivan. They also have a Voyager that is a decontented version of this, but Chrysler just makes this minivan, and I get it. I grew up with a 1992 Plymouth Grand Voyager. This was my childhood, and as I got interested into cars and became a teenager, minivans weren't cool. And for many in my generation, that stigma has just kind of stuck around. But if you ask my 6-year-old, this is the best thing we've had all year, and we're going to get into a lot of that because as a parent now, I absolutely see the benefit. But as per usual, I do want to start under the hood and talk about what motivates this one, because it is very unique not only to this segment, but in its approach overall. This is, of course, the eHybrid, as I mentioned earlier, which means it is a plug-in hybrid, kind of like Jeep's 4xe system. But unlike Jeep's 4xe system, this uses the 3.6 liter V6 instead of the 4-cylinder. And unlike its competition from Toyota that has gone all hybrid with their Sienna, or even Kia with their new hybrid Carnival, which both use 4 cylinders, we've got a true V6 here. And this, along with the non-hybrid version of the Kia Carnival and the Honda Odyssey, are the only ones still offering a V6. So really like V6 power on this one, and the fact that even if you aren't using the hybrid part of it, you still have plenty of power. Yeah, you really can't turn off the hybrid, but the engine itself makes 260 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. Most of its 4-cylinder competition really does rely on the electric motor to make their power numbers. This is really powered by a strong V6, which I really like and appreciate in this one. And I can say, as I close the hood on this, I have driven this back from Fort Worth. I have put over 300 miles on it. And yes, since getting back from Fort Worth, most of those miles have been here in the city, because that is where this eHybrid really shines. It has 32 miles of all-electric range on a full charge, which works great for school pickup lines, for grocery store runs, for running errands all around town. Practically since I have gotten this home from Fort Worth, we've been running on pure electricity. We're getting over 41 mpg on 300 miles of travel in this thing. It really is stellar, most stellar in situations like this where you have quick access to home charging. And our home charger is a 240 unit that does charge the battery up from 0 in about 2 hours. If you don't have a 240 plug in your house, you can plug it in to a standard 110 socket, and it'll take you about 11 hours, something that we learned the hard way on our Route 66 road trip last summer. But yes, this is a very efficient vehicle, even if you aren't charging it every single night, because when the battery is depleted, it works like a typical hybrid. We'll talk more about that while we're driving it. But the style for this one has been updated since the Pacifica usurped the Town & Country as the minivan in Chrysler's lineup. We've gotten more distinct styling, less Chrysler 200, more Chrysler Pacifica. You can see we have LED lights all the way around, LED fog lights, headlights, running lights, LED, all the things. We have 360 cameras on this, and it is a nice, classy look, though it's the look of minivans that has most steering away from them, especially as I pull around to the side here. There is no denying that this is a minivan, while competitors like especially Kia with their Carnival are trying to brand their minivan as an un-minivan or an MPV as Kia tries. This just leans into it. Chrysler created the minivan. Of course, they are going to celebrate all things about it. This being the Pinnacle, but also the eHybrid model, we get two 35/60 or 18-inch rubber wrapped around these 18-inch wheels. These are Nexen N-Prez hybrid efficiency tires. So yes, help with that fuel economy. As we pull around to the side, again, our Pinnacle trim gets all this, not chrome, but like brushed satin metal look on the outside. I like it. It's classy without being overdone. And then the best feature of a minivan, this right here. Power sliding doors on both sides now, because I remember growing up with our 92 Plymouth Grand Voyager, and we fought over who got to ride on the side without the door or had to ride on which side in the back. But now we've got power sliding doors on both sides, which are absolutely cool. And if you ask my 6-year-old to open and close them, he will absolutely do so, and does so even if you're trying to put him in his car seat. Of course, these doors have multiple ways to open and close them, including from the key fob, which makes loading kids' stuff in very easily. Come back to the back, you can see we've got all LED lighting back here. Very clean, very classy look. We're seeing adopted by a lot of SUVs. It's got a very SUV-like look, though it is very low to the ground, which comes in handy when we're talking about storage space in this. The storage space is absolutely massive. So you have this deep well back here in the back. When the seats are up, you've got all these bag hooks for putting your groceries if you need it. We've got a little bit of hidden storage. This is where our charge plug is, because we don't have the vacuum on this one. But if you need more space, well, let's get that pillow out of there. You can simply just fold those seats down into the floor just like that. It is so simple. The Chrysler system is the best fold into the floor system, in my opinion. Most other minivans, they clamshell, so the seat is like this, and they clamshell like that, with the back of the seat being what you see here. This is the underneath part of the seat. So this is like the leg of the seat when it's in the seating position. I'll go ahead and do it in reverse in a little slower fashion here. But I really do think Chrysler has the best folding mechanism system across the board, because it really makes a nice clean, we'll do it one more time, a nice clean floor transition from back here in the back all the way up there. And believe me, we have put this to the test. Like I said, we road tripped one of these over the past 2 summers down the entirety of Route 66. So this really is an absolutely stellar platform. And I do appreciate just how Chrysler does their seating there, but absolutely deep well right here. You can load tons of stuff up without even folding the seats down. And being a Chrysler product, the button to close the hatch is right there on the side, making it very easy to get in and out of the hatch, no matter how tall you are or anything like that. I talked a lot about the eHybrid system. We do have the plug right here. While we're talking about charging, this video is sponsored by Lectron EV chargers. It has made our time with this Pacifica very nice, very easy, and very cost efficient, because we can simply just come in here and plug it up and start charging. And of course, the Chrysler Pacifica does tell you exactly how long it's going to take to charge when you plug it up and let it get going. So here we are 1 hour and 47 minutes to charge to 100% from 12% where we are right now. So very much like that. If you want to get a Lectron EV charger for your garage, your parking situation, hit up the link down in the description below. You can see it's a J1772 plug. No word yet on if they're going to switch to NACS even on this, but I assume that they would, given that their all-electric offerings that are coming down the pike will switch over to the NACS plug. It just makes sense. You don't need to fast charge plug-in hybrids. You really can't. So anyway, just throwing that out there. The interior on this one being the top Pinnacle trim, we get the saddle brown leather, Nappa leather all the way through. You can see very nice, very comfortable. Quilted seatings, they're heated, ventilated, multi-way adjustable with 4-way lumbar. We have a nice little spot here to put an umbrella when it's rainy. A little bit of storage here, a little bit of storage there, a little bit of storage there. 2-person memory seats, very nice system here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop in. It's a little upset with me because I don't actually have the vehicle on, but we'll turn it on now. Because I've been sitting here with it in accessory mode, the engine actually did fire up. I have not heard that 3.6 V6 run too much in my time with this one. You can see I've been driving it nearly 10 hours. I've had the vehicle on nearly 10 hours. We've put 310 miles on it, 41.1 mpg as it sits. Currently, we're at 15% charge with 6 miles of range. Like I said, 32 miles in perfect conditions with 100% charge. I've not had to fill this thing up with gasoline. Yes, I've plugged it up overnight, but electricity is far more cheap, more cost efficient per mile than gasoline is. Here we've got all of our typical stuff, cruise control, things like that. You can control the screen there, all your lighting controls here. 10.1-inch Uconnect, but one of the best features that Chrysler has with this is what they call FamCam, which is an interior infrared camera that works even at night that shows you all of your seating positions, and you can zoom in on whatever position across the vehicle you want, so you can see a little bit more closely. Unfortunately for us, we've got this massive panoramic glass roof, and that means that the camera is actually behind Tucker as he normally sits, but if you were in a rear-facing car seat, we could absolutely see his face. This is a game changer. I really love interior cameras. It's only as of recently that SUV manufacturers are actually starting to put camera systems like this into their vehicles. I don't know what took them so long. Then you've got your typical Uconnect system. Physical buttons for most everything you need, but the heated and ventilated seats are buried in the touchscreen here. Not my favorite. We do have 360 cameras in this one, which work very nicely. The only problem is it takes up all of your screen, so now I can't put my heat or ventilated seat on. So there are some caveats there. Electronic parking brake, a dial for gear select. Low mode is max regen. I'll go ahead, put it in there. It says max regen on. We'll talk more about that as we're driving. A DVD slot for the rear entertainment system, a USB plug for the rear entertainment system, and then all your connections up here for your infotainment, Qi wireless charger. All of that is hidden under a very slow moving gloss black cover, though we've kept that open the entirety of the time we've had it. 2 cup holders here, nice storage here. Get a little of additional power through multiple different outlets there. And then you can see we have even more storage. I'm gonna have to pop the door open to even show you even more storage down here. So we're able to store a lot of stuff inside this. And looking there, we've got the Chrysler wings underneath. Seating, very comfortable. Have not had any complaints from these seats. Like I said, we have taken this vehicle down Route 66. No major complaints along the way there. Go ahead and pop the door open. There is just another way of getting in the back. You can push a button, you can pull the handle, you can push a button on the key fob, you can push a button up front, you can push the button right here. Multiple ways to open these doors, but when you do, you get a full captain's chair here. no miniaturized captain's chair. I'm gonna go ahead and close the door. And yes, very nice. It does recline very nicely, so you can get very comfortable in here. I do have an armrest, same quilted seat here. And as I come around, we have a screen back here with all of our inputs, so we can charge our device, we can plug HDMI in if we want, we could plug headphones in if we need to, all kinds of entertainment options there. And of course we do get one over there as well. So both passengers have their own screen to watch. And then we get a little bit of storage on the back of the center console, even more storage down underneath with some cup holders that you can remove if you need to. But I really like that a lot. Another thing I really like, the HVAC vents and controls. The controls are over here on the passenger side. It is a tri-zone system. You can also control it from up front, but the air vents being where they are, they hit Tucker very nicely on a hot East Texas day here. And even if he were rearward facing, he would still get air from that, not having to blow from the back of the center console. Last thing I like back here, we have sunshades built into the rear windows, but unlike perhaps some of the more updated competitors in the set, there is a lot of uncovered space here on these. So something that, if this is a deal breaker for you, definitely go check out our other videos. The rear windows, unlike my 92 Grand Voyager that I grew up in, roll down, though they don't roll down all the way. Again, you have to think about where the window goes when it is down, but it still gives you a nice view. And these windows are quite large and made for great viewing as we travel down the scenic Route 66. Yet another way of getting out of this vehicle, pulling that handle right there. So plenty of different options. These do slide forward and back. They do not fold into the floor like on Chrysler's Stow and Go equipped models because that is where the battery resides. But I can get into the back seat by pulling this lever right here and folding the seat forward. Unfortunately, for a family first vehicle, you can see I could not do this with the Tucker's car seat in place. So that is a slight miss for the Pacifica here for me. You only are able to do this if a car seat is not installed. So I absolutely could not do that over there. Coming to the back seat though, it is very easy for me as a grown man to climb in back here and make myself comfortable. You can see the Pinnacle model does come with these quilted leather pillows that are removable if you need it. But yes, very comfortable back seat. I mean, very comfortable. It's got a little bit of a recline to it as it is. Very nice space back here. I'm gonna go ahead and show you. Yes, my knees would be touching the back of the seat here, but again, these seats slide, so there is some negotiation space for all three rows. But yes, my knees are not underneath my chin. Back here, I still get a sunshade built in to the rear window, which is nice. I still get an air vent up in the ceiling, which is nice. The ceiling itself is a suede covering, which is nice. This is where that FamCam system is located. We get power back here with USB-A and USB-C, although it is only on the passenger side, not here on the driver's side where I'm currently sitting. And let's see, do we get reclining seats? No, we don't, but still a very comfortable seating position. I could ride across the country on Route 66, even back here in the third row. But let's talk more about how this compares against SUVs from behind the wheel. All right, I've talked a lot about the praises of why you would buy a minivan, but as I leave this parking lot, we're about to see the biggest reason why I think most of you are buying crossovers and SUVs, and that is doing something as simple as leaving a parking lot. Maybe you're in a hurry. Yeah, you're gonna scrape the chin on this because, well, they ride a little low. They ride like a car. They are fuel efficient at heart, and therefore, yeah, we get a little bit of a low chin up front, which translates to, yeah, you're gonna be scraping a little bit more than you would in, say, this RAV4 that's about to pass by me. That's not to say that is the case across the board. There are still a lot of crossovers that still have that low chin. I think of the body-on-frame SUV of the Toyota Sequoia, still, because of the aerodynamic efficiencies that they are trying to create with a very low front chin, we scraped everywhere in that we're scraping here in this one. So that is not a blanket statement across the board, but I do feel like the ride height of minivans are perhaps the biggest reason that most of you are buying crossovers and SUVs over something as practical as this minivan. And practicality is not sexy, it's not fun, it's not cool, but crossovers aren't exactly the coolest thing either. I would put crossovers and minivans kind of in the same segment. Unless you have a full body-on-frame SUV that is meant for off-roading, I'd say the stigma in my mind is still the same for a, we'll say, Toyota Grand Highlander as a Toyota Sienna or Chrysler Pacifica. If you are not buying an off-road capable body-on-frame SUV, or I'll give the Jeep Grand Cherokee a pass here, a off-road capable crossover, yeah, I don't feel like you have a strong enough case to stay away from the minivan for purely aesthetic or overall feelings of inadequacy on the inside. The stigma that surrounds the minivan, I feel, is mostly unwarranted at this point and at this day and age here in 2024. Because as I drive this one around, center of gravity is down low, especially with the battery packs in this one. It drives very easily. There's not a lot of body roll in corners because, again, we're not sitting up high, we're sitting down low, and it rides very well. I've put 311.4 miles on this one so far, and they have been comfortable all the way. Really do appreciate how this thing rides and drives. It just sails down the road. Very nice, very comfortable. Those 18-inch tires do a great job in making it a nice plush ride. I'm getting a little road noise, though I am on highly textured pavement right now. That's going to change up here in just a little bit. You'll notice. Otherwise, the steering is light. I already mentioned the lack of body roll in this. It really is just a supreme cruiser as you go down the road. And the fact that this is the eHybrid version, there are some downsides to how Chrysler has packaged this versus, say, perhaps the 4xe system you get from Jeep. There are no buttons down over my left knee to select whether or not I want all electric mode or hybrid mode, or if I want to save the battery power for later. Chrysler says, no, we're going to use the electrons up first, and then we're going to go to full hybrid mode. There is no button to push to regen that power, to replenish the empty electrons from your battery while you're in motion. What you get is what you get. The only way to recharge this one is by plugging it up. And what is interesting to me, every time you turn the vehicle off, the screen up front will tell you just how many hours it will take to charge to 100%, whether you're plugging in 110 or 220. So that is very useful information every time you turn the vehicle off. As it stands right now, I'm looking at 19% battery with 7 miles of range left, and I still have 279 miles of gas range left in this, which makes this a perfect cruiser. You can run all your errands around town, use only electricity, and in the exact same vehicle, go on a very, very long road trip like we did in our Route 66 jaunt last summer. There's just so much good about this vehicle, and the only negative I really see about minivans is the stigma that they carry that I'm sorry, I feel most crossovers in my eyes carry as well. So, in the words of my good friend Alex Dykes from Auto Buyer's Guide, minivan really is always the answer, and you should at least go out and test one before buying your next crossover, because you might be surprised. Minivans have come a long way since Chrysler invented them back in 1984. They are so nice, so plush, so amenity laden that they make a great vehicle for all types of situations, and the convenience of those power sliding doors cannot be ignored, especially if you have a kid like me who is 6 years old and absolutely loves this vehicle. One last thing I want to bring to your attention, I referenced it earlier, is the L here on the gear selector. When you twist it to L, you actually have to push and turn to get it into low mode, but it turns on effectively one pedal mode. It's the max regen. It doesn't bring you to a full stop very quickly. You can see I'm not on the brake right now, and it just brings you to a nice controlled stop because it is using your momentum to replenish that battery pack a little bit. It's not going to be a full recharge of your battery pack, but it can be done and extend your range just a little bit there. Another thing, yes, I've talked about how you can drive this around in full electric mode for the first 32 miles, but that 3.6 liter V6 will chime in if you stab the throttle and you need it to, which a lot of people I know, good old traditionalists, are like, no, I've got to have at least 6 cylinders. Don't give me a tiny 4-cylinder. And this really is the best of both worlds with the 3.6 liter V6 and the hybrid powertrain. Speaking of which, if you want to see more from us, including our family review of this, where Tucker weighs in, Holly weighs in from the driver's seat, hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified every time a new video drops from us. Find us on all social channels, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. Links to everything from there. But as for me, in the 2024 Chrysler Pacifica, cruising on electrons right now. Until next time, gearheads. Bye.